Hey guys, what's going on? It's ATL Rain. Wanted to go ahead and just start a brand new series. It's called Hearthstone Tavern Talks. We're going to be talking about some of the decks that I'm running, successes, and the failures that I'm having on the ladder. So it's just been a little bit more than a month since we've had the release of Demon Hunters. I'm really enjoying playing them. So I wanted to go over two different decks of the Tempo Demon Hunter that I've been running, go over some of my points and tips that I feel that are very good for these decks, as well as go over some of the things that I don't like. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching this. Here we are. We're going to look at both of my Tempo Demon Hunter decks that I've been running. I ran one successfully all the way from the start of Bronze, or the end of Bronze, if you will, all the way through about midway through Gold, and I started facing some better players, some better decks, and wanted to really work on getting something different that fit more my play style. I'm very action first, think last type player, so that kind of hurt me. So we're going to take a look at the two decks. They're very, very similar. One is a little bit more aggressive than the other, in my opinion, but they do share a lot of similarities between the two. One of the biggest things between these decks that make this one a little bit different is the Blade Dance card. So this is Ultra AoE. It definitely is effective if used correctly, but I found myself resorting to it too soon, which resulted to at the end of the game me burning them early on and then being stuck with no way to answer some of my opponent's decks of ways of dealing with me. Um, so that's the biggest card that changes between the two. I think there may be another one that we'll get into also. Twin Slice is going to be very, very basic. What's great about this card is this is your activator. This is going to be a card that's going to uh, essentially start a lot of your combos, whether you use the Twin Slice or the second slice that comes with it. It's a 0 mana stone card, so it's very, very powerful, and you have to be smart when to use them. The Battle Fiends, me personally, I'm not a huge fan of this card, only because I never get enough value. I almost use it as a bait to try and get the other enemy to attack it versus look at other things. But I have seen some people being very successful in getting this up with its attack, because as you attack with your hero power, you get more attack out of this particular card. I think the highest that I've been able to get it before it was killed was a 4. So I would love to hear from any of you guys who've been able to get it higher. Go ahead and put that in the comments below, because I would love to know how to utilize this card a little bit better. Crimson, the Crimson Sigil Runner. I like this card. It's very low value, and it also gives you a card back on the back end. The only problem that I run into with this consistently on this deck is that it's always, you have to play it when it's on the end. So sometimes you have to change your plans a little bit and play that card to get the benefit of getting that extra card on the draw. Uh, Outcast was a new thing for me, but I did take quite a bit of a break away from Hearthstone, so I had to learn a little bit differently what that was, and I learned through trial and error. But Outcast, of course, it's just that card that's out on the end there. Blade Dance we talked about. Chaos Strike, it's another powerful card. It's another thing that allows Demon Hunters to get more hero power as it's attacking. I do find myself an early mistake for folks, if you will, is playing this in the wrong order. But I think that goes to say throughout Hearthstone is that if you play the cards in the wrong order, it can substantially hinder your turn. So do like what my chat was telling me and take your time, think about what you're doing. Do not play this card after you've already attacked, unless you're trying to combo this with another card, which we can get into here in a moment. Ferocious Felfin, it's another card that I feel that I don't get a ton of value with, only because I feel, again, it's one of those bait cards. That's how I use it. That's how I play with it. I put it out there. I will take out some higher value minions, but what I've done recently, because this is in both of my tempo decks, is I've used it outside of the rush. If there's nothing down that one damage that I'm going to lose on hitting either a minion or the enemy hero, I'm playing right now to see if there is a true benefit of getting the 4-2 from this 3-2. So when you play it after you've attacked, Another one of those cards. Play in the correct order. I'm trying to see if there is true value in having Rush, if there are no enemies out there on the board. Um, the Umberwing, I mean, it is what it is. It's a weapon. You're going to equip it. You do get 2 Fell Wings when you play with it. So that's a good early card. I like to look for this in my mulligans. So that's just something that I like to use with it. The Warblades. I love this card because it gives you value when you're attacking. You're able to get some power back, or not power, but you're able to get some life back as you're attacking. You just got to do it correctly. Sometimes you're forced to use this when you're at full health, which is a waste. But again, that's the way that I play with it. It may be the wrong way, but that's how I play with it. Sometimes you have to get some offense out there because you don't want your enemy deck to be sitting and it's a strong mid or late game deck, and then you're left in shambles because you took too long to kind of get some offense generated. I beam. I'll play this outside of the outcast ability, but very, very infrequently. And this is another card. Make sure you play in the correct order because it does give you 3 health back. So if you're able to play with this correctly, you can get a lot of health back very quickly if you either pair this with your Warblades here. You can get upwards into 6 and 7 health back just off 1 turn if you play it correctly. Altruist the Outcast. We're going to come back to this card for very good reason. Kane Sunfury. I struggle with this card. I'm not seeing a lot of decks that are taunt heavy, and it could just be where I'm at in the ladder right now. I'm not seeing a lot of decks that are taunt heavy. I will see some, and sometimes even just as one card, it's not going to make a difference. But I do play this card sometimes for some super extra offense, but I'm also looking for a better opportunity to play this card and get more value out of it versus just kind of like in a mid to late game. I've experimented with playing them in the early game to generate some more offense because it is only a 4 mana stone card, but this is going to be a difference in this deck and the next deck that I'm about to show you because there's another 4 mana stone card that I really, really like. Maeve. Love this card. This is another way to deal with taunts or high value cards. You do put a player dormant or a minion dormant for 2 turns, which is huge. But if you're putting a huge value on this card, make sure that you're going to get value on the back end of it. Because if you just play it just to play it, or play it and you don't take full advantage of it, then you're going to waste disabling that minion for 2 turns. The Glavebound, what I recently have learned to do with him, I like to use him to take out minions. I was primarily using him to attack the hero with the additional 4 damage that comes out on the battle cry after you attack with your hero. Another card that you need to pay attention to win in the order that you play it. But I've been using it now to take out some higher value minions or minions that are around that 4 health pool area, and I've been very successful with it. Sometimes I am forced to play it and just take the extra offense to the hero, but this is a great card for dealing with early board pressure or mid board pressure since it is a 5 mana stone card. Metamorphosis. I think this is more of a finisher for those latter rounds when you're really looking for that knockout punch. I do play around with this from time to time. If I need that pressure on the enemy hero, I will do that. But I also use this to take out some high value taunts or other enemy minions that can really hurt. But you only get to use it twice, and then it resorts back to your hero power, whatever that may be, whether it's your weapons or just adding your claws. What I like to do is I like to have a weapon equipped while I also use this card, because then you're getting dual value out of your hero. If you have a weapon equipped, then you don't have to waste any mana stones because it's already there. And then, of course, with this one, if you have the Metamorphosis, when you use your actual hero power, you're getting more value out of it. And I did want to back up with your Glavebound. If you do get that in the early game or like the early mid game, make sure that you equipped a weapon. If you have a weapon equipped, you won't have to use your mana or your hero power in order to activate this. Another trick I like to use with this one is using my twin slice. If I do have it available, I won't drop both twin slice and second slice unless I'm searching for more offense, but I usually like to keep one of those, either a weapon or these uh, low mana cards here, twin slice, second slice, in order to proc his additional damage there. The Imprisoned Antian. This is a card that I hate, hate, hate. We'll get to that in a little bit more. Skull of Gul'dan. This is another card that is super powerful. You're going to get 3 cards off of it, and you're going to get them reduced by 3 mana if it's an outcast. So inherently important to play it when you do get it on the far left or in the far right. You somehow get it mixed in the middle of your deck. That may be a time for you to strategize and use down the left side of your deck so you can move it over and get the full value. But anytime that you have it locked in and you're ready to go, it's a good card to use. I do like to search for this in my mulligans. If I can somehow land it in those 3 cards or 4 cards, first or second, and it is in that far left slot, I do like to keep it there. I don't have the math percentage to say what it's going to be there, but it is very nice to have already locked and loaded, because when you get to that 6th turn, you can really make it happen. And everybody's favorite card, the Priestess of Fury. I know people say that it's overpowered and that they hate this card. Hey, sometimes when you're good, it is what it is. And this card, it's good. You play it, and it instantly is going to dish out 6 damage to multiple enemies that are on the board. If you can take control of the board and you can just have it attack the enemy hero, it's huge. If the enemy, or if your opponent is playing a lot of 1/1 minions, no, it's not guaranteed to hit all 6, because it could go in different areas. It could hit the hero twice and not a minion once. It's very random, but it is a very nice board clear card that you can use to really turn the tides of a battle with an enemy, or with an opponent rather. So definitely like that. Definitely like that. Um, we're gonna swap over to the other deck, because I talked about there's some differences, and I also didn't talk about Altruis. Um, the biggest changes in the deck here are going to be the Overseers. Now, in this deck, this allows me, this Tempo Demon Hunter #2 deck that I call it, this deck allows me to be a lot more aggressive, in my opinion. I don't have to set as many things up, but I kind of do in the same exchange. But nevertheless, this is a card very similar to the Felfin and the Battle Fiend that I do struggle with getting full value. So again, I'd love to hear your comments and suggestions down below, to how I can get more value out of this card. I've only been able to get, on my end, 3. So I'll have him, and every time that my hero attacks, you'll get a 2/2 minion. I've only been able to get a total of 3. I've had him and then 2 others, never gone beyond that. So Demon Hunter pros out there, help me out. Tell me what you think I could do to help get the maximum benefit out of this card. The Raging Fell Screamer. This is a huge card, and this, when I introduced it into this deck, I loved it. What it allows me to do, if I get it in the early game and in my mulligan stage, or shortly after the very initial start of it, I love to play this if I have board control, for one, or if there are no minions on the board because we've traded back and forth, like Demon Hunter type battles. But I love to play this on turn 4 if I have the Priestess of Fury already in my hand, or I feel like I'm lucky and it's about to come, or the Antian. These are the 2 demons that I like to play this card on. When you play it, what it allows it to do is it reduces the cost of your next demon by 2. Pay attention, you do have other demons in your deck. The Battle Fiend, you reduce its cost by 2, is going to cost you 0. But it's only good for the next one, not subsequent ones. So if you accidentally play this out of order, there's the theme, stay in order of the cards that you want to play, then you're not going to get the full benefit of that card. 1 mana really isn't worth dropping this to 0. The other one, the Satyr, again, I'm looking for better ways to play this card. Maybe that is the best way to play the card with that combo. Let me know in the comments below. But what I like to do is I like to take him, Scream it, reduce the cost of the Antian or the Priestess. If I have the Priestess and I drop it on turn 5, I have had a lot of success in winning a lot of games. Because what ends up happening is I normally will have another Priestess very quickly. Somehow I'm playing with 2, if I got one in the very beginning or so forth. But when I drop those 2 cards out, that's a lot of pressure. If they don't deal with it, you can attack it for 6, and then at the end of your turn, it's going to hit everything for 6. If you've got 2 on the board, do the math. You can't survive it. If I'm feeling lucky, if you will, I will play him. But this is a card that I absolutely hate in both decks. I don't get a lot of value out of it. It's a high value card, and he stays dormant for 2 turns before he unleashes 10 out amongst all the enemies that are on the board, including the hero. Now, getting it, normally what happens when I play it is I'll get 10 damage, and then he's dead. Like, he'll get it, and then I don't even get a chance to actually attack with him for the 10. Maybe that's how it's designed. Maybe that's how you guys are experiencing it, but I absolutely hate the fact that I have to let him sit for 2, then he busts out the 10, and then he's dead. Altruist the Outcast. This guy, super powerful. Line it up correctly, play this card. And play this card when you've got some good twin slices that are available. But they got to be strategically placed, because what Altruist will do is every time that you play those cards on the outsides of your deck, it's going to hit everyone for 1. So I lose the AoE by not having the Fell Blades from the other one. Let's see for sure. For not having Blade Dance, I'm sorry. From not having Blade Dance. But what Altruist does is the same thing, but in a little bit more of an obtainable way. Blade Dance only hits 3 minions. Altruist hits everyone. Now, he is in both decks, but when you really can hammer the 0 mana stone cards, or if you can play the Skull of Gul'dan and reduce the cost of those cards, you can get some of these cards and you have massive zeros. You can deal with a lot of board clearing with that card by playing those cards from the outside in. So something to think of when you have it. Make sure that it's a good time to play that card versus just throwing it out there. Again, anything that I've said, I'm not a pro player. I just came back from a long break of Hearthstone, but I jumped into the Demon Hunter decks, apparently like everyone else. But hey, at this point, Demon Hunter is the way to go, at least in my opinion. I'm having a lot of fun playing with it, and so that's the reason why I've chose these decks. I'd love to hear from you guys as to what changes that you see in my deck, or any of the strategies that I've said that may or may not. And of course, we are going to post a video gameplay of this deck in action. Come check me out on the stream. Follow me on Twitter, ATL Rain, #1. That's when I'm posting when I'm going live. And then, of course, drop a follow on the Twitch, twitch.tv, ATL_Rain. That is ATL, not Addle. Please don't say Addle. ATL Rain. We play Hearthstone. We have a lot of fun. I know that it seems like it's just a card game, but there's a lot of energy that I put into it, and I really enjoy the WoW storyline that's behind it. So hope to see you guys soon, and hopefully this helps. Would love to hear from you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.